everyone, and welcome to another deep dive with us. Today, we're going to be exploring something pretty powerful, forgiveness.
Forgiveness, yeah.
And we're using this text, The Power of Forgiveness, Why Letting Go is Key to Inner Peace and Happiness. So pretty self-explanatory title there, but we're going to kind of dig into, like, what does that actually mean?
Yeah.
Like, how do we do that? And
Absolutely.
what are the benefits and all that stuff?
Exactly. And, I think a good place to start is just really defining what forgiveness is.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times people think that forgiveness means that what was okay, or that, you're condoning the behavior, or that you're forgetting about it. And
Yeah, or like sweeping it under the rug.
right, exactly.
It didn't happen.
And it's really not about any of that. It's really about letting go of that resentment and bitterness
Okay.
for your own well-being.
So it's not about them, it's about us.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's about how it's impacting you now. And
So, like, even if they never, ever apologize or even admit they did something wrong,
yeah,
we can still work on
absolutely.
forgiveness for ourselves.
Yeah, because that anger and resentment is really, it's like a poison.
It's like holding on to a hot coal.
Yes, exactly. It burns you more than it burns anyone else.
Yeah, yeah. And I can definitely see that. Like, if I'm stewing about something that somebody did to me a week ago, I'm the one who's losing sleep.
Exactly. You're the one who's carrying that burden.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it really is about, choosing to kind of untie yourself from that anchor
Oh, that's a good one.
and allowing yourself to move forward. And
Yeah.
and the text actually highlights some studies that show people who practice forgiveness experience significant reductions in anxiety and stress.
That makes sense because, when I'm holding on to something, I'm thinking about it all the time. Like, it's taking up space in my brain. And it's...
It is. It's taking up mental and emotional energy that can be used for something so much more
Yeah, exactly.
positive and productive.
Yeah.
And the text also delves into the connection between forgiveness and physical health.
Okay.
When we hold on to grudges, our bodies are producing more stress hormones,
Oh, wow.
and that can negatively impact our sleep, our immune system, even increase our risk of certain illnesses.
I never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
But it makes total sense.
Yeah.
So it's really like taking care of ourselves.
It is. It's a form of self-care.
Okay.
And, it's not just about, feeling better or reducing stress.
Mm-hmm.
The text also talks about how forgiveness can actually help us to grow as individuals.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it introduces this model. It's called the RECH model.
Receipt.
And it outlines the stages of forgiveness. So
Yeah.
the first stage is recall,
Okay.
which is really about acknowledging the hurt that was caused.
Okay.
Then you move into empathy.
So this is where we're trying to see it from their side.
Exactly, trying to understand where they're coming from.
Not necessarily agree with it, but...
Right, not condoning it, but understanding it. And then there's the altruistic gift stage.
Altruistic gift. That's interesting.
Yeah, this is where you recognize that you've been forgiven in the past and that you can offer that same gift to others.
Okay.
Then comes commitment.
Yeah.
Where you make the conscious decision to forgive and finally holding on.
Holding on. Okay.
Where you remind yourself of that choice, especially when those old hurts resurface.
Oh, that's good because I can see how
Right.
it'd be really easy to like slip back into
Yeah.
that anger and resentment.
Absolutely. It's a process. It's not always linear.
Right. It's not like you just decide to forgive and then boom, you're done.
Exactly. It takes work and it takes practice.
This is fascinating. I had no idea. It was so
Yeah.
like there are actual steps to
Yeah.
forgiveness.
It's a journey.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. And it's a journey that can lead to some pretty amazing transformations, not just within yourself, but also in your relationships.
Okay, so how does it affect our relationships with other people?
Well, when you let go of past mistakes,
Yeah.
it creates space for understanding and empathy.
Okay.
And that allows for a cycle of kindness to emerge.
Yeah, that makes sense because if you're constantly thinking about like all the bad things this person did,
Right.
it's going to be really hard to...
Yeah, it creates this barrier
Yeah.
between you and them.
Yeah, it's like you're holding up a wall.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's hard to really connect
Okay.
when you have that wall up.
So forgiveness is kind of like taking down that wall.
Yeah, you're building a bridge instead.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah. And it's not just about our relationships with others. It's also about our relationship with ourselves.
Oh, okay. So self-forgiveness.
Exactly.
I've heard that term, but I'm not really sure what it means.
So self-forgiveness is about extending that same compassion and understanding to yourself
Okay.
that you would offer to someone else.
Because we can be pretty hard on ourselves.
We are often our own worst critics.
Yeah. I'm definitely guilty of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And we need to be able to, forgive ourselves for our past mistakes,
Okay.
for our shortcomings, for the times that we've, fallen short.
And does the book give us any, like, tips on how to...
It does. It does. It suggests things like, writing a letter to your past self,
Oh, okay.
acknowledging the hurt that was caused, and offering compassion.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's a really powerful exercise.
Okay, so it's like literally writing a letter as if you were...
Yes, as if you were talking to your younger self
Okay.
and saying, hey, I know you messed up,
Mm,
but it's okay. We all make mistakes.
yeah.
And, I forgive you.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, it's about offering yourself that same grace and understanding that you would offer to someone else.
Yeah, because we wouldn't be as hard on somebody else as we are on
Right.
ourselves, typically.
Exactly.
Wow, this has given me a lot to think about already.
Yeah, it's a lot to unpack.
And we're just getting started.
We are.
So we're going to take a quick break. And then we'll be right back with more of this deep dive into the power of forgiveness. So don't go anywhere. Okay, so we're back, and I'm really curious. Like, we were talking about how there are these steps to forgiveness, but
Yeah.
what does that look like in, like, real life?
Great. So, it's not like there's this magic formula or a one-size-fits-all approach.
Right.
But the text does offer some practical techniques that we can use
Okay.
to help us cultivate forgiveness.
Like what?
So one powerful technique is journaling.
Okay.
Just taking some time to write about your feelings about the situation.
Okay.
It can really help you to process what happened and to gain clarity.
So even just, like, getting it out of our head and onto paper.
Exactly. It's like you're giving those emotions a space to breathe.
Yeah, yeah.
And as you're writing, try to pay attention to any negative thought patterns or beliefs that might be coming up.
Okay, so for example.
Right. So let's say you find yourself thinking things like, I'll never get over this,
Okay.
or they don't deserve my forgiveness. Those are beliefs that might be holding you back
Yeah.
from truly forgiving.
Okay.
So it's about, recognizing those thoughts and then challenging them.
So, like, asking ourselves, are these thoughts actually true?
Exactly. Are they serving me or are they just keeping me stuck
Yeah,
in this cycle of pain?
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so journaling is one technique.
Yes.
What else can we do?
Well, we talked about empathy earlier,
Right.
and that's a really important part of forgiveness.
Okay.
It's about trying to see the situation from the other person's perspective,
Even if we don't agree with it.
even if you don't agree with it.
Okay.
It doesn't mean condoning their behavior,
Right.
but it does help us to develop compassion and understanding.
Okay.
The text uses this analogy of a courtroom,
Okay.
where instead of being the prosecutor, focused on proving their guilt,
Mm-hmm.
you take on the role of the defense attorney,
Okay.
trying to understand their motivations and their circumstances.
So we're looking for the why.
Exactly. Why did they do what they did?
Interesting. Okay.
It might not excuse their behavior,
Right.
but it can help us to see them as human beings.
With their own flaws and baggage and
Exact.
experience.
Yeah, we all have our own stuff
Right.
that we're carrying around.
Okay, so we've got journaling,
Yes.
empathy.
Mhm.
Are there any other, like, techniques or practices that we can use?
Yeah, well, the text actually highlights the importance of gratitude.
Gratitude. Okay.
Yeah, it might seem counterintuitive
Right.
to focus on gratitude when you're feeling hurt and resentful.
Because you're thinking about all the bad stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
But focusing on the good things in your life can actually help to shift your perspective
Okay.
and to make it easier to forgive.
So it's like taking a break from
Yeah.
thinking about the negative stuff and
Exactly.
focusing on the good stuff for a while.
Yeah, it's like a mental detox.
Yeah, I like that.
And, the text suggests doing things like writing a gratitude list.
Okay.
Each day, just take a few moments to write down all the things you're thankful for.
So, like, even if it's small things.
Even if they're small things.
Like, my coffee this morning was good.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
It all counts.
I like that because it makes it seem more attainable.
Yeah.
It's not like this big, huge
It
thing.
doesn't have to be complicated.
Right, like just little things to be thankful for.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
And another practice that can be really helpful is mindfulness.
Okay, I've heard of mindfulness, but I'm not really sure how it connects to
Right.
forgiveness.
So mindfulness is about becoming more aware of your thoughts, your feelings, and your bodily sensations without judgment.
Okay.
And forgiveness is not about suppressing those emotions.
Right.
It's about observing them with curiosity and compassion.
So we're not trying to push them away.
No, you're allowing yourself to feel them,
Oh, okay.
but you're not letting them control you.
Okay.
And mindfulness practices like meditation or deep breathing can really help to cultivate that sense of awareness.
So it's like creating space between
Yeah.
the emotion and our reaction.
Exactly. You're
Okay.
not just reacting
Okay,
impulsively.
taking a moment to just observe.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that can be really helpful when those old hurts resurface.
Because instead of just like getting sucked back into that,
Yeah.
you can kind of see it.
You can observe it and you can choose how you want to respond
Okay.
rather than just reacting automatically.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got mindfulness, we've got gratitude, we've got empathy journaling.
And we can't forget about self-forgiveness.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That's a really important part of the process, too.
Okay.
And it's something that we need to practice regularly.
Okay.
You know, we're human. We make mistakes
Yeah, all the time.
all the time, right?
Yeah.
And when we mess up, it's easy to beat ourselves up.
Yeah.
But self-forgiveness is about recognizing that we're doing the best we can with the resources we have at any given moment.
So we're not trying to be perfect?
No, we're not striving for perfection.
Yeah, okay.
We're striving for progress.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it's about, offering ourselves that same compassion and understanding.
That we would offer to someone else.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the text actually suggests doing things like engaging in acts of self-care
Oh, that's interesting.
as a form of self-forgiveness.
Okay.
So things like taking a relaxing bath, spending time in nature, doing something that brings you joy.
So it's like pampering ourselves.
Yeah, it's about nurturing ourselves
Okay.
and showing ourselves that we're worthy of love and care even when we make mistakes,
Okay.
I
like that a lot.
Yeah.
Because it's true.
We tend to be so much harder on ourselves
Yes, absolutely.
than we are on other people.
Okay, so self-care equals self-forgiveness.
You could say that.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, forgiveness is a journey. It's not a destination. It's not something that you just achieve
Yeah.
and then you're done.
Right.
It's an ongoing process.
So there's going to be like ups and downs and
There will be ups and downs.
good days and bad days.
Exactly.
Okay.
The text actually compares it to learning to ride a bike.
Okay.
You might fall off a few times,
Right.
but you keep getting back on,
And eventually you get it.
and eventually it becomes easier.
Yeah.
So it's the same with forgiveness.
Okay, so just keep practicing.
Keep practicing.
Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Even if you feel like you're not making progress.
Exactly.
Okay.
Trust that you're moving in the right direction.
Okay, I really like that.
Yeah.
That's very encouraging.
Yeah, and one more thing that I think is important to address is that sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
we might be in a situation where the other person isn't remorseful
Oh, yeah.
or they haven't apologized.
That makes it really hard.
It can make it really hard.
To forget.
Yeah. But the text emphasizes that forgiveness doesn't depend on the other person's actions or apologies.
So we can forgive even if they don't say sorry.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's about freeing yourself from the pain,
Okay.
regardless of whether they take responsibility or not.
So their apology isn't necessary for us to...
It's not necessary.
Okay.
It's about, taking care of yourself.
So it's almost like we're giving ourselves permission
You're
let go.
giving yourself permission to heal.
Okay.
And the text uses this analogy of carrying a heavy sack of potatoes.
Okay.
We might be waiting for that other person to apologize and take some of those potatoes out of the sack,
Right.
but we're the ones who are weighed down in the meantime.
Yeah. That's a good analogy
Yeah.
because it really is heavy
It
to carry that around.
It is. And so forgiveness is about choosing to put down that sack of potatoes.
Whether they say sorry or not.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's about freeing yourself from that burden.
This is all so helpful, and I really appreciate you walking me through this.
Of course.
I'm starting to see forgiveness in a whole new way, and I
Yeah.
think it's something that I can actually start to practice.
It is. It's a practice.
Yeah.
And it's a journey.
But a journey worth taking.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Well, we are going to take another quick break,
Okay.
and then we'll be back to wrap up this deep dive into the power of forgiveness.
Welcome back to this deep dive. I feel like we've already learned so much about forgiveness, but
Yeah, there's always more to uncover.
always more. Yeah.
It's such a rich and multifaceted concept.
It is. And I know we touched on this a little bit earlier, but
Mhm.
this idea that forgiveness equals weakness.
Right.
I think that's a big reason why a lot of people,
It is a common misconception.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're hesitant to forgive because they think it means they're
Mhm.
giving up.
Yeah, like they're letting the other person off the hook.
Exactly.
Right.
But you were saying that's not.
It's not true at all.
Right.
Remember, forgiveness is not about the other person. It's about us.
It's about you.
Okay.
It's about choosing to release that anger and resentment so that you can heal and move on.
So it actually takes a lot of strength to forgive.
It does. It takes courage to face those hurts
Okay.
and to choose to let go.
So it's like we're taking back our power.
You're taking control of your own emotional well-being.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not about being weak. It's about,
It's about being strong.
okay,
Yeah.
I like that reframing.
And it's important to remember that forgiveness is a process.
Right.
It's not a one-time event.
So it's not like I'm just going to wake up tomorrow and be like,
Right.
I forgive you.
Exactly. It might not happen overnight.
Okay.
It takes time and it takes practice.
And probably some ups and downs along the way.
Absolutely.
Mm.
There will be days when you feel like you're making progress,
Mm-hmm.
and then there will be days when those old hurts resurface.
So it's like anything else in life.
It is. It's like learning a new skill.
Right.
It takes time and effort.
But the more we practice, the easier it gets.
Exactly.
Okay.
And there are resources available if you're struggling with forgiveness.
Okay.
You know, there are therapists, there are support groups, there are books.
So we don't have to do this alone.
You don't have to do it
Oh,
alone.
yeah, that's good. That's good to know.
And one of the amazing things about forgiveness is that it creates a ripple effect.
What do you mean by that?
So when you choose to forgive,
Mm-hmm.
you're not only healing yourself,
Okay.
but you're also creating a more peaceful and compassionate world around you.
So it's like spreading kindness.
Exactly. It's like a
Okay.
chain reaction.
Wow. That's a really beautiful way to think about it.
Yeah.
So it's not just about us.
It's not just about you. It's about everyone you come into contact with.
Because when we're carrying around all that anger and resentment,
Right.
that affects how we interact
It
with
affects everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when we're able to let go of that,
Mm-hmm.
we can show up differently.
I can show up with more love and compassion.
Yeah. This has been so incredible. I feel like I have a whole new understanding
I'm
of,
glad to hear that.
yeah,
Yeah.
what forgiveness really means and why it's so important.
Yeah, forgiveness is a powerful force for good
It is.
in the world.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today.
It's been my pleasure.
This has been truly enlightening, and I hope our listeners
Yeah.
feel inspired to explore this more in their own lives.
Absolutely. And remember, every step you take towards forgiveness is a victory.
That's a great reminder. Thanks for joining us, everyone, for this deep dive into the power of forgiveness.